In the state of Texas, the whole issue of the Muslim takeover is really hitting a fever pitch. There is a growing coalition of patriots, of mostly political conservatives, who are trying to fight back against this. You may have heard about this project to create a Sharia-governed community called Epic City, a Muslim-only community. And Governor Abbott has been pushing back there, of course, as well, saying that Sharia law cannot be practiced or cannot be implemented in the United States of America. Well, there is a proposal right now of a law in the House of Representatives, in the Congress, HR 5722, called the Preserving a Sharia-Free America Act. That is now up for discussion, and there were hearings just the other day in the Congress, and I want to play you a clip from the hearings, and the congressman speaking here, who's having the dialogue with the witnesses, is Representative Brandon Gill. He happens to be the youngest member of Congress. He's a congressman from Texas, and he has really been at the forefront of fighting all of this Islamic takeover. And so let's take a look at this, and I want to focus in on one of the people that he's questioning, the first person that he's questioning, when we get to that. So let's have a look.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for for holding this hearing and for very boldly and clearly speaking about this. This is an issue that I hear all the time from my constituents in North Texas who are concerned about the rise of radical Islam in Texas, and I want to thank the witnesses for being here as well. I've got a few questions, and I want to start with you, Mr. Soman. Can you tell me what percentage of U.S. Muslims believe that Sharia law should be implemented in the United States?
So I'm not aware of survey data on that specific question. However,
well, I can tell you it's 39%. 39% of Muslims in the United States want Sharia law implemented in the next 20 years. Do you know what percentage of Muslims in the United States support the formation of a Muslim political party?
Again, I'm not familiar with survey data on that particular question.
Number is 46%. Do a couple more. Do you know what percentage of Muslims in the United States support making it illegal to show a picture of the cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad?
So as with the other questions, a lot depends on the wording and the sample, and I would want to see the details
50%,
of the methodology here.
That's a lot. Let's do one more. Do you know what percentage of Muslims in the United States believe that Islam should be declared as our national religion?
Once again, I would want to look at the methodology of the survey, the question.
33%. This is from a survey conducted by the Heritage Foundation in 2024, in September of 2024. It was published on October 6th, 2024. I got two more for you. Do you know what percentage of American Muslims believe that Israel does not have a right to exist as a Jewish homeland?
I don't know that one either, but if it's from a survey by the Heritage Foundation,
it's 43%. You're happy, you can declare that statistics you don't like aren't true, but that's not how I'm going to operate here. We got one more. Do you know what percentage of Muslims in the United States say that Jewish people have too much power in government policy?
Once again, I would refer you back to my previous answer.
57%. Do those facts concern you?
I would want to see the nature of the survey, and I would also know the Heritage
Foundation. I'm just asking if those statistics concern you.
If they were accurate, they would be a matter of concern, but I would want to see.
They are accurate, and I think that they are a matter of concern, and I think most Americans agree with me there. Mr. Spencer, I'm going to move on to you. Let me ask you, is Islam as a political ideology, in your opinion, compatible with America's constitutional governing framework?
Oh, no, certainly not. It denies the freedom of speech, denies the equality of rights of non-Muslims with Muslims, the equality of rights of women with men, and contradicts U.S. law in numerous other particulars.
And can you tell me, what is the goal of political Islam?
Well, Muhammad, the prophet of Islam, said, Islam must dominate and not be dominated. And in every Sharia state that is on earth today and has ever been on earth, non-Muslims have not had equality of rights with Muslims in the society. The idea is to enforce a subservient position for them so that they know the pain in this world as well as the next of having rejected Muhammad, which the Quran says that they will suffer.
Under Islamic law, as it's commonly practiced, are men and women treated with equal dignity?
No, certainly not. I quoted before the passage about women beating women from whom you fear disobedience. The Quran contains nothing about beating disobedient men.
Ms. Child, I've got a few questions for you. Can you explain to us very, very briefly, what is Epic City?
Oh, yes.
Do you mind turning your microphone on?
Yeah, so to understand how Sharia relates to Epic City, you don't have to look any further than Imam Yasser Qadi of Epic. He's the chairman of the Fiqh Council on North America, the group that tells Muslims in the US how to apply Sharia.
And do you know who's funding Epic City?
Yes, just one moment. I have some information on funding. And when you ask where the money and infrastructure for Epic City are coming from, when Epic City was first marketed, they actively solicited investors, including foreign investors. So that fundraising model is now under serious legal scrutiny with Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. He sued East Plano Islamic Center, its development arm, Community Capital Partners, alleging violations of Texas security laws and how funds were raised and managed. And this isn't isolated.
Thank you, and my time is up, so you'll...
Okay, so let's unpack what we just saw here. So the first, I want to talk about these speakers here, these witnesses. We're talking about, again, this is talking about the threat of Sharia. So let's start with the first guy, Ilya. This guy's name is Ilya Soman. He's a professor of law at George Mason University. And of course, he's saying, well, I don't know the numbers. I don't know these numbers. I don't know those numbers. I don't know those numbers, which I kind of found, I found it sort of comical because he's a scholar who's actually written a book about political ignorance and the danger of it. Although I wouldn't expect him to necessarily know polling numbers. I don't know what he came in this, prepared for. But he published a short article the other day in advance of his testimony, basically telling everyone what he was going to say in this congressional testimony. So here, take a look at what he said here in his testimony. He said, tomorrow I'll be testifying against the proposed Preserving Sharia-Free America Act at a hearing before the U.S. House of Representatives Judiciary Committee's Subcommittee on the Constitution and Limited Government. And then listen to what he said in his testimony. I'm grateful for the opportunity to address some of the important issues raised by the proposed Preserving a Sharia-Free America Act. My conclusions about this bill are clear and unequivocal. It is manifestly unconstitutional, in violation of the First Amendment. In addition, the vast majority of immigrant adherents of Sharia law, a category that includes all or most Muslims, pose no threat, and there is no good reason to bar them from the United States. Here he says that all or most Muslims are adherents of Sharia law or believe in Sharia law. And then in his testimony, he was like, well, I don't know. But the main thing I wanted to point out about this Ilya Soman is that Ilya Soman, and I brought up this issue before, and I'm going to keep bringing it up. Ilya Soman is a Jew. He's Jewish. You see, Jews are our own worst enemies. I don't mean Jews who adhere to the Torah and actually follow Judaism, but Jewish progressives, Jewish liberals in America, Jews who have strayed from actual Judaism still get to be called Jews, right? My good friend Ami Kozak pointed out to me, you guys might know him, the comedian, he pointed out to me recently that, it's not fair. When a Christian leaves Christianity, they're just called an atheist. When a Jew leaves their Jewish values behind, they're still called a Jew, right? But that's because there's good reasons for that. But my point here is that over and over again, we are seeing this. We saw it with the 30% or so of Jews in New York who voted for Mamdani. Like, what on earth are we thinking? Jews continue to undermine their own well-being. Hello, Mr. Ilya Soman, professor of law at George Mason University. These Sharia supremacists who are coming into America are your enemy. They want to destroy you and your people, okay? Their holy books call you the enemy of Islam. I don't know if Ilya Soman has relatives in Israel, but he probably does. He's a child of Russian immigrants. a lot of Russian immigrants in Israel. I don't know Ilya Somin, but it just struck me again that the apologists for the greatest enemies of the Jewish people continue to consistently be Jewish people. The other speakers on that you saw there, one of them was Robert Spencer. He was the second one. Now, Robert Spencer is an unbelievable scholar. He's written over 30 books about Islam. And he's also responsible for a website called Jihad Watch, which really is more of a breaking news website about what's going on with the problem of Sharia and jihad all over the world. But he's also a Shillman Fellow at the Horowitz Center for Freedom. Phenomenal scholar, fluent in Arabic, reads all the Islamic religious texts in the original. He knows, he's a dangerous man to these people because he knows what their books actually say. And notice what he brought up there. He brought up what Sharia calls for in terms of its persecution of women, which is not consistent with American law. And here is this guy, Ilya Somin, saying, that there's nothing in Sharia law that this is religious discrimination and they're not a danger to America. Well, let's understand something. Islam is a political faith. Okay, I explained this in a previous video. Let me go over it again. The goal of Judaism is that everyone in the world believe in God, live in their own nation states. Everyone in the world have faith in the God of Israel, with the nation of Israel restored in their land, being a light unto the nations. Okay, whatever that looks like. Topic for another time. Christianity's goal is that everyone in the world have faith in Jesus. Okay, great, more or less. The goal of Islam is world dominance, okay, control over the world. As Robert Spencer said there, anyone who lives under Sharia either has to accept Islam or has to accept second-class status as someone who lives under Islam. The goal of Islam is for everyone to submit to Islam. It's actually a political ideology. But people like Ilya Somin say, no, it has to be protected as a religion. Why does it have to be protected as a religion? It has to be protected as a religion because it's a faith. It has Allah, it has a prophet, it has sacred texts, it has a history of being a religion. Well, maybe totalitarianism is a religion or communism is a religion. Can I advocate for that? Can I try to take over America and replace the American Constitution and legal system with a different political system? Of course not. That would be called treasonous and subversion or whatever. But because Islam is a religion, but it has a political agenda, it's still viewed as a religion. Okay, that's the problem with it. It's actually a political movement. And that's why it can't be treated like a normal religion. The protections that religions have can't apply to it because it actually has a political agenda to replace the American political system. I hope this is making sense. Anyway, that's the issue I wanted to raise here. The third person speaking is Krista Schild, or Child. She's with the Rare Foundation. They're excellent. They publish a lot of stuff exposing the threat of Islam in America. RAIR, you should look them up. Good organization. All right, folks, that's what I wanted to share with you today. Keep watching. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think of all these videos. And please spread the word about what we're doing here. God bless.